I'd halfway through writing, take off another direction. And if I already got a title I'm committed to, then I might keep the song from growing, you know. I never know what the songs are about at all, like, until I get done with them.
Yeah.
I sit back and go, geez, now I have to put my name on this, you know. and then I'd try and call it something. So I used to call songs anything, but I found out that's real difficult for people to ask for the song then, because they can't put the title together with the song.
They got to have something to connect
So
to.
you kind of, I usually go and sing them in clubs or something and wait until somebody asks for that song and call the song whatever people ask for it by.
Is the banter you have with an audience when you perform in concert, is that totally spontaneous, or do you plan out what you're going to do as far as talking between songs? The reason I ask this is because I read where you, at one point in your life, and this may have been when you were a much younger man, that you memorized an entire live album by Hank Williams Sr., including the jokes, the stage talk.
Yeah, it turned out it was a radio show, and I guess they put it out as an album. But all the banter in between and everything, I'd sit around with my guitar and I'd sing the whole album for my father, including the stuff in between the cuts.
The talks to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, if the needle would have jumped, I would have probably mimicked that too, you know.
Who do you mimic somebody in your stage presentation of your show? Everybody has musical influences that affect the way they structure their music. Is there somebody that influenced the way you structure your stage performance and your stage?
Well, not so much the stage performance. My songwriting was heavily influenced by Hank Williams and Bob Dylan and Roger Miller.
Roger Miller.
Yeah.
Roger Miller was masterful with strange lyrics.
He'd just take words anywhere. He'd just take them anywhere. He'd bend them and shape them any way he wanted to get to the end result, and I thought that was just great.
In reading about you and in talking about Roger Miller, you said that a Roger Miller song, and I think it was You Can't Roller Skate in a Buffalo Herd, was a song that liberated you.
Well, I just thought it was like written just for me. You know, it's just the way I thought about everything. After that, I always, it took years and years before I got to meet Roger Miller, but I always had the feeling that we could look at the same electrical outlet and laugh about it, you know. So I liked his sense of humor a whole lot.
He was able to do these very funny songs with strange twists on lyrics, and then turn right around and do a very serious song.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it as well, especially when he'd go into his serious songs and then come out of it with, my uncle used to love me, but she died.
Yeah. Remember that song he did, Husbands and Wives?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Wasn't that a great song?
Gorgeous song.
That maybe was my favorite Roger Miller song. I read in the late 1980s that you contemplated calling it quits.
Well, I was just going to get off the road for a while and do something else.
So not quit the music business?
Well, I was going to maybe get away from the business for a while and keep playing the music. You know, I was starting to feel like I was in a bit of a rut with the touring and everything, and I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't want it to affect my music. I wanted to be able to still enjoy the music and be able to write. So I was just going to get away from it for a while. I had no idea what I was going to do. You know, this is the longest job I've ever held. You know?
What did it mean for you when you won the Grammy for this album? Was that a validation you felt you needed at this point in your career?
No, but it was really a great honor to be able to get, particularly that this record was on my own label. I started the label like 8 years ago, and to be able to get my first Grammy for a record on my own record label, I was just like, you know, couldn't have been happier.
Had you thought a lot over the years about winning a Grammy? Is that something that plays on the mind of a songwriter or a performer?
I hadn't really thought about it before, but it is really, I'll tell you what the best part of winning a Grammy is after you win it, everywhere you go, like everybody that has already liked you, they kind of feel like they won it too. You know, and everywhere you go, they congratulate you, and it makes them feel good that you got a Grammy. It validates them believing in your music, you know, besides you believing in it.
Yeah.
And that's what the real good thing has been. Like, it's just been, you know, everywhere I've gone, it's just like you can't get slapped on the back and nothing.
Yeah.
It's been really nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's true, as a fan, you love it when you feel you've discovered somebody.
Yeah.
And then they are validated through awards and through the...
Yeah, now they say, you don't know him, he won a Grammy.
Yeah. Tell me about doing this on your own label, Oh Boy Records. Why is it important that you do it? From what I read, you avoided overtures from some major labels. You wanted to do this on your own terms. What can you do on your own label that you couldn't do on one of the major labels?
Well, it was more gratifying to me to be able to watch the entire process of like, well, write the record, make the music, make the record, and then go out and actually sell the record. And when we would get, when I first started the company, I had to do it by mail order. And we would get letters back from the people after they received after they'd sent their check and received the record. We'd get a letter, and it wouldn't be a usual fan letter. It'd be a letter telling me what they did for a living and how much they appreciated the fact that that I'd started my own label and I was totally independent. And someday they hoped to have their own dentist office, or they hoped to have their own carpenter business, you know. And it was a nice thing to go back and forth. I felt like I was selling these records almost door to door, you know. Yeah. And I knew I had an audience out there, and this even made it better that eliminated the middleman.
Yeah, yeah. Was this label? Was there a time when a major record company wanted to buy your label?
Yeah, we've had a couple of offers.
Weren't interested?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No,
Not
maybe
yet.
down the line.
It could happen. Yeah. You had a part in this John Mellencamp movie. What was the name of this?
Falling
from Grace. How'd you get the part in that?
Well, I already had some music that was going to be in the movie. And actually, the movie was going to be called Souvenirs originally, which is an old song of mine. And I got around to recording the music for the movie, and they hadn't started shooting yet. And John Mellencamp told me there was a part in the movie it was a small part where they wanted somebody to play the brother-in-law. It was a man of low self-esteem that couldn't hold his beer very well. Yeah. So he asked me if I wanted to read for the part, and I said, sure. I read for it, he gave me the part, I did the thing, and had a really good time. Yeah.
Had you done acting before?
Never.
Enjoy it?
I had a real good time. I was surprised that I had such a good time at something you have to get up so early for. Yeah.
Get up and wait around.
That was it. There's more waiting around with a movie than there is with anything
That's
else.
what I hear. Would you like to do more of that?
Yeah, it would be nice to do a night movie sometime.
So if you're interested in John, make sure you're filming at night and give him a call. John Prine is our guest. We'll take a break, and we will be back.
A young man from a small town with a very large imagination lay alone in his room with his radio on, looking for another station. When the static from the mouthpiece gave way to the sound below, James Dean went out to Hollywood and put his picture in a picture show. James Dean went out to Hollywood and put his picture in a picture show. And it's, oh, Daddy, get off of your knees. Mama, why'd you have to go? Your darling Jim is out on a limb. I put my picture in a picture show. Oh, oh, my picture in a picture show.
I wish Sally won't work the nights. We never get to see her.
She don't dare quit. There's 15 people waiting on every job that comes up around here.
Well, she got to work for me, Mitch.
I already work for you, bud. Guess Sally thinks there ought to be one member of the family that ain't on charity.
Now, Mitch, we've talked about that. You ain't on charity. You earn every dime you get.
John Prine, our guest, a scene there from the movie we were talking about, Falling from Grace. You've written a lot about James Dean in songs.
Yeah, he pops up here and there.
Yeah, so it feel good to be doing something there in the same profession that you so admired this man.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just plain great to be in a movie.
Yeah.
Except I had to wear a suit that was one size too small.
A little tight, huh?
Yeah.
Let me ask you about some of the songs here, and if there's a story or where this song popped up from, or what sprung it into your mind. In your new album, Jesus: The Missing Years, this is the song that obviously the title of the album is taken from.
Yeah.
Interesting story about perceptions of Jesus.
Well, I'd heard somewhere that there was all these missing years, like 18 of them, that they don't talk about in the Bible. Like all of a sudden he disappears around the age of 12, and you don't hear about him until he's 30. And I thought, well, geez, if they don't know, then I got as good a guess as anybody. So I just wrote it into a tape recorder about 3 in the morning, sitting at my kitchen table, you know,
of what your imagination conjures
Right.
up that may have happened to Jesus
Right.
in the years they don't know about.
Exactly. And the next day, I put the tape on, and I listened to it, and I thought, oh, geez, I got to hide this. I can't, like, I didn't know what to do with it. And a couple weeks later, I dug it out, and I started liking it a little bit. And then it took a while before I thought about putting it on a record, I recorded it initially. Me and Dave Ferguson we went over to Jack Clement's place one night, and I had a CD called Severe Thunderstorms. And we put it up there, and I had all this lightning and thunder going on in the back, and I put a bunch of echo on my voice and recorded this narrative, Jesus, the missing years.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Quite a song. And one of your old ones, Paradise, about the Peabody Coal Company.
Well,
And strange lyrics in there, strange rhymes in that song. It was a tremendously effective song. Where'd that come from?
I wrote it for my father. That's where my mother and father are both from Muhlenberg County. Paradise was the name of the town. And they used to take me down there. I grew up in the Chicago area. And they'd take me down there when they could, like in the summers. And I'd just go visit my relatives. I had a lot of relatives living in Muhlenberg County. And when I was away in the Army in the mid-'60s, the coal company had always been there. It had always been real rich in coal, the whole region had. That's where Merle Travis is from, and all the coal mining songs he wrote and stuff. And anyway, Peabody came in, and so did the TVA, and they kind of bought up the land where the town was and tore the town down. And my dad wrote me a letter when I was away in the Army and saying that, the town wasn't there anymore. We couldn't go back to visit it anymore. And it was a little piece of Americana. The town looked like a Walt Disney movie. So I wrote the song for him, not thinking anybody else would ever understand or want to hear a song about Muhlenberg County. I didn't think anybody could pronounce it,
But quite an impact. In fact, from what I understand, they now have named a street for you up in that area.
Right, I got
Pretty
a
good.
street. Yeah, I got
Pretty good
a
eye.
piece of Highway 431 in Drakesboro, Kentucky.
People will beat me on the head if I don't ask you to pick up your guitar and do something for
Okay,
us here.
great.
You want to do something new, something old, excuse me, something fast, something slow?
Oh, I'll do a little bit of this one. That's the way the world goes round.
Okay, great.
I know a guy that's got a lot to lose. He's a pretty nice fella, kinda confused, got muscles in his head, ain't never been used, thinks he owns half of this town. Started drinking heavy, got a big red nose, beat his old lady with a rubber hose, then he took her out to dinner, bought her new clothes. It's the way that the world goes round. That's the way that the world goes round. You up one day, the next you're down. It's a half an inch of water, you think you're gonna drown. That's the way that the world goes round. I was sitting in the bathtub, counting my toes when the radiator broke. The water all froze, I got stuck in the ice without my clothes, naked as the eyes of a clown. I was crying ice cubes and hoping I'd croak when the sun come through the window. The ice all broke, I stood up and laughed, I thought it was a joke. That's the way that the world goes round. That's the way that the world goes round. You're up one day, the next you're down. It's a half an inch of water, you think you're gonna drown. That's the way that the world goes round.
All right. John Prine. Every article you read about you, and I read quite a few last night, they talk about your lyrics and the images they conjure up and the pictures they paint and the emotions they touch. And interestingly, when I read about you, writing came to you before music. It says back in school, you were writing dialogues, essays, whatever you choose to call it.
Whenever I got something in school where you didn't have to go to a book to learn it, where you could just use your imagination, it just came as easy as pie to me. I like the idea of just writing, because all I did was daydream all day anyway in school. I mean, if a teacher had an interesting button on their shirt, then at least I could look that direction when they were talking,
Yeah.
And I just always loved just writing and making up stuff. I never thought it would lead to anything other than just enjoying doing that.
When did the thought of adding music to all these words that you were writing come along?
When I was 14, my brother taught me 3 chords on the guitar, and I started to try and learn some of my favorite songs, but they didn't sound like the records, so I found it easier to make up a song, and I just make up these songs and sing them until I got tired of them, and then make up some more. And I started making them up to impress girls, you know. That's how I got into Roger Miller. I had this girl in art class tell me that she turned around one day. She called me Jimmy. She never did call me John. And I didn't care what she called me, just as long as she talked to me.
She talked to you.
And she said, you remind me of that guy on the radio, that guy, that dang me guy. And I said, really? So I just went home and started trying to write songs like Roger Miller, you know.
That's all you needed,
Yeah,
was some girl
it.
telling you reminded her of Roger Miller.
Yeah.
The current album is called The Missing Years. It's a good one. It's selling, and the critics love it. And you heard a little bit of it here today. Thanks, John. Appreciate you doing
Thank you, Dan.
John Prine, our guest. Hope you'll come back see us
Hope so.
sometime. You live here in town, don't you?
Yeah.
You can come back by here anytime.
Okay, great.
Glad to
Thank
have
you.
We're going to take a break. Bobby Jones, the godfather of gospel music, when we come back.
So all you need to do is just sit back,
Relax.
and after this, we'll be right